Dr. Sowat's Guide to Case Studies, Part 3. So where are we in our framework for discussing case studies? We've talked about the purpose of a case study. We've looked at some of the steps in preparing a case study. We've looked at the exploration, the analysis, strategy step. In this particular focus on tactics, along with the common pitfalls in preparing a case study. Our framework, the thinking routine, again, it shows the get big, get small orientation that we're following, exploration, analysis, strategy. Tactics emerge only after we've thoroughly explored the first 3 steps. So what are tactics? Tactics are those operational how-tos. It's how do we implement the strategy? By definition, it's those specific actions designed to deliver results. And this is what's visible. These are the elements that the audience actually will see. They'll see the PowerPoint slides that deliver our message. They'll receive the letters sent home, relaying the details of the plan. But what they won't see is all the work behind the scenes that we did to get to this tactical stage. What are samples of the types of decisions we need to address in deciding on our tactics? Well, one is how. How are we going to relay our message? This deals with the different channels that we might use. Maybe a brochure, video clip, maybe it's a PowerPoint presentation, a press release, those types of things. Who? Who are the spokespeople? Who do we want to relay the message? When? What about the timing, the phases, or the stages of the information? Where? The logistical details. What you'll note is we've omitted the what and the why questions because those were very much a part of the strategy step when we're looking at what is the message and why are we arriving at that particular message. Again, what we have is the tactics emerge only after we've done thorough research, analysis, setting strategy, and we're spending most of our time on those steps and roughly 20% of our time on the tactical decisions. So as we look at case studies, what are some of the common pitfalls in preparing a case study? And this is based on years of experience of working in consulting and of doing case studies. One is assuming that the stated problem equals the actual problem. A client may very well tell you what they think is the actual problem, and they may even suggest a solution, but it's a deeper issue. Think about us. We go to the doctor, and what we do is we present symptoms. Maybe we have a headache, but that's not the problem. It really masks something deeper. Maybe the actual problem is we have an issue with our eyesight. So much the same in an organization that the two may not be the same. Another pitfall is failing to detect underlying patterns or dilemmas. You might discern that an issue in the company is one between a supervisor and subordinate communication. But as you delve deeper, you may realize that it's not an isolated issue, but it's part of a recurring problem or pattern. In fact, this is one of Dr. Sowat's critical thinking questions, which asks, what is the pattern? And that's for you to determine as well. Another common pitfall is prematurely narrowing down the problem. All too often, we quickly try to narrow down the problem, or we rely on the client's perception, which might not always be in the best interest of making a sound decision. Another is making inappropriate or trivial assumptions. Let's assume, for example, we're doing some work in a paper mill. An inappropriate assumption might be that everyone will hear an announcement over a loudspeaker. Well, if you think about a paper mill, machinery is going, people are wearing ear protection devices, so that might be a very inappropriate assumption to make. Another is failing to prioritize issues. Resources are limited in the organization. So let's chase the top 2 or 3 problems that give you the biggest bang for the buck. Part of our expertise as consultants is highlighting the primary problems, all of the problems. Another, as we talked about in the strategy and tactical phases, is failing to clarify goals, the core message, and the rollout stages. Another is assuming prepackaged solutions or best practices will work in your particular case. Every case is different, and let's not rely on boilerplate solutions. It might be novel and exciting and interesting for one particular case, but it may not apply to your particular case study. What comes to mind is a situation with J.C. Penney several years ago. They hired away from Apple one of Apple's marketing executives to be the CEO of J.C. Penney's because he worked wonders at developing the retail stores for Apple. Well, that strategy just didn't work for J.C. Penney's, and actually that person has been relieved of his CEO position. Another pitfall is overly emphasizing tactics or failing to provide actionable tactics. We want to find the sweet spot between these two. Again, let's place 80% of our resources on thoughtful insight and about 20% on determining the tactics. Another common pitfall is insufficiently justifying your decision. You may make a thoroughly wonderful decision, be great, but it may not be derived from the class principles or models or concepts. We need a justification. We need a rationale. So make sure that you include that so it just shows that this is very well thought out. Another is failing to consider and rule out viable alternatives. Show in your case study that you've thoroughly thought through various other alternatives. It's just as important to include in what you chose as part of your strategy and tactics as what you didn't choose as far as your alternatives. So if you follow our framework of get big, get small, it will position you well for developing a very sound case study. So what? Just as review, why do we do case studies? Case studies simulate real-world problem analysis and problem solving. Again, the classroom, it's a very low-risk environment. This is the place to make mistakes rather than in the real world. It also provides you an opportunity to use your analytical and creative talents. It's an opportunity for you to demonstrate thoughtful, sound, problem-solving approach. It also increases the probability of your aha moments. This is an opportunity for you to apply course models, concepts, and principles to actuals. And case studies also position you well to add value to your organization, and they enhance your career opportunities. They're opportunities for you to show, to increase your marketability, and to enhance your credibility.